My name is Austin Paul. I'm a professional filmmaker who's worked with companies all over the world creating high-end commercials with small teams and affordable gear. Today, I'm gonna show you guys how to light a colorful commercial where you can take your shots from this to this in a matter of minutes. First, we need to pick our location. I'm gonna be using my studio today because this is the easiest access and it's free, and that's a perfect place to start. Choose something that's free and simple and easy for you to access, and this will be a great challenge for you to push your skills in lighting and as a filmmaker. When creating a certain look for my commercial, I like to break down the process into steps. 1, lighting the subject. 2, lighting the scene. And 3, set design. But before we start to light, we need to figure out the look and style of our commercial. I'm gonna be emulating one of my favorite films, Blade Runner 2049. There's a lot that goes into lighting, but we're just gonna break this up into simple sections. I always start with my subject first, as that's the most important thing in my entire scene. Typically, there are 3 lights that are gonna be lighting our subject. We have our key light, which is our main source of light on our subject, this light right here on my face. Then we have our fill light or negative fill, which is this side, the darker side of my face. And then lastly, we have our rim, hair, or backlight, which is this light right here that's illuminating me in the back and separating us from our subject. So the first light that we need to bring in is our key light. What I'm gonna use is the Godox SZ150R. And the reason for that is because this light is small, powerful. We can put a modifier on it and it's gonna give us a lot of color. So this is perfect, a perfect light for creating for our key light, especially for a colorful commercial like this. We can go from regular white balance to a really colorful look in a matter of seconds. What I'm doing now is I'm building my first modifier for my key light. This is the QRP90 modifier. This is great because this is gonna give us a beautifully soft light. So I'm putting it in the first layer right now by just attaching it like this. And then we're gonna put on the second layer, which is gonna give us, again, that soft light. And then we're gonna set it up and we're gonna position it for our subject. I'm gonna turn it on right now, just so we can kind of get an idea of where everything's turning. As you can see, we're getting color onto our light stand. If I stood in there, you can see color on me. Where we're gonna be placing this light, it's always a good rule of thumb to start out with a simple lighting setup. And a simple lighting setup that looks really good, and we might change it, is the Rembrandt look. And the Rembrandt look is going to be at an angle that's higher than the person, pointing down a little bit, and then about 3/4 on one side of their face, because it's gonna create, from the shadow of the nose, a triangle of light on the other side, the fill side of their face. And this is just a generally good lighting setup. So to do that with this light stand is we're just gonna bring it up right here. I already have it pretty much there. And then I can kind of stand in just to show you guys what that looks like. But this gives you kind of an idea as the color starts to change onto my face. For this tutorial, I'm gonna mix it up and place my rim light next. And the importance of this rim light is because this is gonna separate our background so our subject, me, doesn't get blended in with the background behind us. For my rim light, I'm using the TL30 tube light by Godox. This light is small and powerful, and it's so easy to place anywhere you need it, and this makes it perfect to use as a rim light. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna attach the light right here, and we're gonna attach the other light right here of the 2 tube lights. And this is gonna create a perfect rim light on the back, which is gonna be awesome and very cool, and I'll show you guys in a second, so let's do it. The other one I'm just gonna put right here, because it's magnetized, which is really cool, right? So now, as you can see, with me standing in here, you can see the red as a rim, and then you can see our key light right here. It's gonna be a lot more prominent once we turn off our studio lights. We're just using the studio lights so you can see everything as we build our setup. The next light or board is going to be our fill light. You don't always have to use a light on your fill side. You can actually bring in a bounce board or even a negative fill to make it even darker and block out light. It really depends on the look you're going for. For our fill side, we're gonna be using this bounce board right here. Again, this is just insulation board at a hardware store that goes in between the walls of your house. There's a silver side and a white side, which is perfect. And then I just cut it out to the sizes that I want and then gaff tape it to have it how I want it. But I'm gonna attach it right here, and then we're gonna angle it similar to the light And we're just gonna raise this up, and that should cover a good portion of my face. Now I haven't started dialing in the lights at all yet, and we can definitely get this closer, like that. But as you can see, now there's a lot more light on the fill side of my face. I've turned off the other lights so you guys can see the color a little bit better for right now. And this is with the fill in, and then I'm gonna remove the fill now. And then you can see a difference in the shot without the fill or the fill there.
Remember, you're going to fail. I fail all the time when setting up my lights. It's just all about practice and tweaking and readjusting. If you don't like the look, start by turning off your lights and then starting all over with your key light and then building from there again. You can even go through the Godox app and start to adjust the hues and the brightness and be looking at it through your camera, because that's the most important place to be adjusting your lights. Now that we have our subject lighting roughly dialed in, it's now time to light our scene or our space. The first light I like to start with is my ambient light. An ambient light is just the light that's gonna bring up the overall brightness of the room.
Another great light, which is the light that we're using for the key light, is the SZ150R, because this is gonna be the most versatile light, very lightweight. It can have us either go to regular white balance or to color, but we're gonna use it for color for this because again, this is a colorful commercial. One of my favorite modifiers to really bring up the ambient light in a room is the CS85D. And what that is a nice lantern. What this does is, as you can see, it's a diffusion that's gonna evenly spread out in a 360-degree fashion your light. So this is perfect for bringing up that ambient light.
Now that we have the subject lights and the ambient lights set up, let's jump over to the camera and start playing around with our hues.
Just to recap, right now I have my key light, my fill lights for my subject, and then my ambient light for the room all set up. I don't have them on RGB yet, but now I'm gonna sit down or have Alex sit down and we're gonna get our RGB look and get our framing. And then from there, we'll build the rest of our lights for set design. So what I'm doing is I have my Canon R5 on an 85mm, and I like my framing. I like to have rule of thirds. So I have Alex just kind of sitting to the side. Alex, I'm gonna have you scoot a little bit more. Just a baby hair, perfect. And the reason why I have this is because if I have them too far in the center, the light bar that we're eventually gonna be putting into the scene would be right behind his head, and we don't want that. But now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the Godox app and I'm gonna start changing the different colors of the lights so I can get what I like. But before I do that, I'm just gonna turn off this light. It's gonna get a little dark, but you guys are gonna hear me talking as I am changing these lights, and we can see this whole process of our scene starting to become something really cool. I just have Alex sitting on the left side, rule of thirds. I also have the darker side of the fill closer to the camera as I am looking over there. Look over there, Alex. Just like that. As you can see, it's darker on his face right there, on his cheek. And the importance of that is you show the dark side, it's gonna create more depth to make your shots look more cinematic. But first, we're gonna start with our key light. And our key light, what I wanna do for this look is I want Alex to be pink. I know that sounds weird. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna go from CCT and we're gonna go all the way to HSI. Boom, like that. And right there, I'm already kind of liking that, but we have to start playing with the other lights to get a better idea. If we're gonna have Alex pink, I need some contrast. And what is a great contrast for pink is light blue. So now we're gonna have our fill lights on Alex blue. So I'm gonna go over to those. We're gonna go to the first one and we got it blue. So now you can see all the color coming together. We're gonna do the next one. All right, that's looking great. So now the next light that we gotta do is our ambient light. And from there, once I do my ambient light, I can see what else I need to play around with. We're gonna go to our globe light or our ambient light. We're gonna go over to HSI and let's play around with that. And I wanna make that blue. And we're just gonna keep going blue like that. And look at that, we already have a really cool Blade Runner look and we've barely done anything.
From there, I like to look at light motivation and practical lights. I like to ask myself, looking in the scene, where would lights naturally come from? Would it come from a window, from the sun, or maybe even a light that's off camera? Those are gonna be my motivational lights.
I'm on HSI for the tube light, and I have it at 290 on the hue, and we have it saturation 100, and we're just gonna stick it right in here with some gaff tape that I put right here, and we're gonna go like this and just hide it right here. Now, that's one way of doing it. Obviously, if I wanted more color coming off of it, I could have put it up there with a C-stand and pointed it down like that.
For my practical lights, those are lights that are gonna be shown on camera that you can see. I have two tube lights, the TL60s, right on the back wall that are right next to my skateboards. The TL60 tube lights by Godox are perfect lights to use as my practical lights. They're beautiful in the scene, and they are RGB capable, so I can use them to use great color contrast in my scene in the background, and also highlight the skateboards. The next thing that we're gonna do, because I just feel like it's gonna be too blue, is I want these boards right here to be pink. So what I've done is I've mounted another tube light right here to a C-stand. We're just gonna roll it in like so. Lift it up, make sure it's not in the shot, and we're just gonna have that aimed right at the skateboards. Now, Alex is sitting back down, and look how big of a difference that those lights, just adding them into the background, makes. Now we have Alex really popping out. Lastly, I'll be focusing on my set design, and from there, I'm just looking at the motivation of what my actor is doing. If he is sitting at a desk, he's probably writing or typing on his computer, so I'll place a computer in the scene and then put a little bit of decoration. You can keep the set design simple. It's gonna make a world of difference when shooting your scene. And right now that's looking great. I think we can add a little bit more in with a few more lights just for fun, so let's do it. Now, just to add a little bit of motivation to this monitor, I'm gonna be using a Godox Round Mini magnetic light. These are super cool and just small, compact, RGB as well, so it's easy to place them anywhere I want. And this is perfect. These lights are perfect for making sure that you can just have motivative lights that can hide behind something that's small. So I'm just gonna turn this on and now have it pink. So it's just gonna add a little bit more. I'm not gonna point it directly at Alex, not yet. We can have him play around with it, but I'm just gonna place it right here so it kind of bounces off the screen and just lighting up his face a little bit more. Next, I'm gonna take one more and I'm gonna have this one actually a little bit different. It's just gonna punch in a little bit on Alex's face, and we're just gonna come on over here. I'm gonna turn it and I'm gonna have it more of an orange look. And what's great about it is, boom. And now it's just gonna highlight the headphones when Alex puts them on. So it's gonna be perfect for our shot. Now I have Alex just sitting there. This looks so good. I'm so stoked with the look of it. We have an 85mm Canon R5, and then I just have it at a 3.5, and I think we are getting the look that we want with Alex. So I think this is amazing. This is what I would do for my setup shot. Lighting can really be simple and really up level your work and make a world of difference from taking it like something that's boring like this to something that looks amazing like this. Remember, it takes time and a lot of failing. I cannot stress this enough. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I want to give a huge shout out to Godox and their team for providing these lights. Without the build quality and amazing versatility of these lights, this scene would not be possible. So again, use the right lights to create awesome scenes. These ones are affordable, high quality, and perfect for everyday use.